and cleaning up the country and putting the people to work and pushing the country forward. We believe we can make money out of the environment by promoting responsible environmental policies that create jobs, not undermine the economy. We believe that we live in a world where what we earn depends on what we can learn, and therefore we have a commitment, this administration, to the fact that all children can learn, all adults must learn, and we're going to give you a real education presidency if you vote for us. Should at last open the doors of college education to all the people in this country. For years, I have talked to your senior Senator Sam Nunn about the need to establish a national service trust in this country, out of which any American could borrow the money to go to college and pay it back as a part of their income after they go to work, or even better by giving a year or two of service to their country, either before or after they go to college, by working as teachers, as police officers, helping the children, helping the senior citizens, building the houses, solving the problems of our country, and educating a generation of Americans. You think about what it could mean to Georgia if every person in this state who wanted a college education could come back home to Georgia and work it off by helping us to solve our problems from the grassroots up. Not a government bureaucracy, but people helping people and educating a whole generation of Americans. Small business problems can be laid to the fact that we are seeing healthcare costs go up at 3 times the rate of inflation, spending more on it than any other country on earth. And we are not addressing our most fundamental problems. In rural areas in your state and mine, there are people who can't see a doctor even when they're pregnant. There are children who never see a dentist before they're out of high school. There are people who don't get immunizations even though we know it can save lives and save money. There are all these problems in our system because we have stubbornly refused to cut out the tens of billions of dollars in waste that are going in to insurance profits and bureaucracy and regulation and drugs and unnecessary procedures. We will give you an American healthcare system that keeps your right to choose your doctor and your nurse and your clinic and your hospital, but controls those costs and provides basic care to everybody. If we don't do that, we'll never be able to face the AIDS crisis. We'll never be able to whip cancer. We'll never be able to solve the problems of the healthcare system, and it's going to bankrupt the country. Give us a chance. I'm tired of being told we cannot do this. Every time I talk about this, Mr. Bush says, there they go again. They're going to give us a government-controlled health system. It will not be. It'll be private. It'll be good, it'll be efficient, it'll be an American version of what every other advanced country has done. I'm tired of being told by George Bush, whose health care has been paid for by you, he's got socialized medicine for 12 years, that you can't have control of your health care costs and basic health care. We can do better. We can do better. Guess what? The American Nurses Association endorsed Clinton and Gore the first time they ever endorsed anybody. The American College of Physicians, over 100,000 doctors in this country, came out with a plan remarkably like ours. Everybody who seriously studies this program knows that we've got to do better. It is critical for our economic survival and for the sanity of the people in this country, including a lot of the people in this audience. There are people here tonight listening to me who cannot change jobs because they've had a sick relative in their family and they won't be insured if they change their jobs. We've got to do better than that. If you'll give us a chance, we will. The last thing I want to tell you is I want to give you the power to take control of your own lives, to assume the responsibilities that we have to all assume to change so that we can compete and win in this global economy. That's why Al Gore was right. Yesterday, after George Bush got through running away from the debate and running around my state, he went back in the heat of the night when it was dark, when the newspapers had gone to bed, when everybody had written him up in the newspaper, and late at night, he vetoed the family and medical leave bill. Now, this bill contains an exemption for small business, because I know that people with a few employees may not be able to let somebody have even 12 weeks of unpaid leave, so it exempts small business. You know how many countries have decided they can afford some time off when a worker has to go take care of a sick parent or when a baby's born? You know how many? Not 5, not 10, 72 countries. How many times has George Bush vetoed this bill? Twice. After in 1988 saying he'd provide it. Now what he says is, you know what message that sends? I thought we were the greatest country in the world. I thought we were the family values country. But he says there are 72 countries in the world that can do things we can't. Well, I have to tell you, I think we're better than that, and we will be better than that after November the 3rd. Ladies and gentlemen, I challenge all of you to think about what we must do together to change. I have challenged the American people to support welfare reform, to say welfare should be a second chance, not a way of life. We should spend more money for education and health care and child care, and then we ought to tell people when you can go to work, you got to go to work. We ought to have a family values administration that has tough child support enforcement so you can't cross the line and go down to Florida and beat your bill in Georgia. You ought to take care of your kids. We ought to say to the working people of this country, I'll give you a new economic policy, but you still got to be willing to go back to school and retrain yourself 7 or 8 times in a lifetime, and anybody that tells you any different is not telling you the truth. We cannot repeal the laws of change. And we ought to say to the wealthy in our country, we do not begrudge you your wealth. This is a free enterprise country. We ought to want everybody to have a chance to grow up to be rich. Wouldn't mind trying it myself someday. But I got an old-fashioned view of this. I hope we make more millionaires, Al Gore and I, than George Bush did. But you know what? I want our millionaires not to make it by cutting deals and ripping off savings and loans and cutting corners. I want our people to make it by putting people to work in factories and in small businesses and making the economy grow and giving stability and security to the lives of the people in this country. Make money the old-fashioned way. Earn it. And I don't care how many millionaires we create. I hope there'll be tens of thousands. Now, if that's what you want for your country, we need your help for the next 6 weeks. Because I can tell you, for the next 6 weeks, you'll have more of what we had yesterday. I'm going to be out here offering my message. Al and Tipper and Hillary, we're going everywhere we can go. We're saying everything we know to say to tell you what we're for. And you know what? They're going to say everything they can say to sow doubt and discord and despair. Why, they even tried to spend the first 2 nights of the Republican convention dumping on Hillary. And then what they said was so bad, so bogus, so false, that even the Wall Street Journal had to run a big article repudiating and saying what a load of hooey it was. You do love her, don't you? That's all right. I'll tell you one thing. I thought by the time Pat Robertson and Pat Buchanan and George Bush got through that Mr. Bush was running for First Lady instead of President. But I could have told him a long time ago he'll come nearer winning an argument with me than he will with her. He better stay alone. They're going to keep trying to make you doubt. They're going to keep trying to divert your attention from the real problems. They want 4 more years of the same failed policies. If we give it to them, we ought to be ashamed of ourselves. We know better. We know what they'll do. See that sign out there? Say no to more of the same. We don't need it. And what I want to ask you to do is to spend the next 6 weeks giving courage to your friends and neighbors. We need to carry Georgia. We can carry Florida.